Welcome, curious minds. Get ready to really get under the hood of a sector that shapes our daily lives, the global food services market. We're talking everything. Your morning coffee, that pizza you ordered last night, even the food in workplaces or hospitals, it's huge. And our goal today, to give you a clear path to understanding just how big it is and, what's driving its future. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. We're basing our deep dive today on market projections from cognitive market research. They've mapped things out all the way to 2033. Think of this as your shortcut, yeah? To getting really informed about this massive global sector.
It really is fascinating, isn't it? Just how deeply this market is woven into everything we do. It's not just the restaurants and cafes you see on the street. Think about catering, big events, small events, institutional food supply for schools, companies, hospitals. It touches almost everyone every single day. Understanding its size, its direction, that's key to seeing the bigger economic picture.
And the scale. Well, the numbers are pretty staggering. Let's lay down some of the basics from the data. So back in 2021, the global market value was already $2.93 trillion. Yes, trillion with a T. Looking forward, the projection for 2025 is around $3.28 trillion. And by 2033, the forecast hits a massive $4.12 trillion. Now, this growth track, it averages out to a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of 2.86% between 2021 and 2033. So what does this actually mean for you listening, whether you're a consumer, maybe an entrepreneur, just watching global trends? What's the takeaway from this multi-trillion-dollar growth?
Well, it signifies a whole lot more than just rising numbers on a spreadsheet. That 2.86% CAGR, yeah, applied to an industry this big. It speaks volumes about its resilience, its fundamental necessity. We aren't talking about some fleeting tech bubble here. This is an industry that constantly adapts. It adapts to population changes, economic ups and downs, shifting consumer tastes, everything. It really confirms food services as like a bedrock of the global economy, always finding ways to grow, to innovate. It's pretty remarkable, really.
Okay, let's start digging into the regions. We'll kick things off with North America, historically a real powerhouse, right? In 2021, North America alone was worth about $1.17 trillion. Huge. By 2033, it's projected to be near $1.59 trillion. So that's showing steady, reliable growth, a TAGR of 2.47%. And within that, no surprise, the U.S. holds the biggest piece of the pie. It goes from $924 billion in 2021 up to maybe $1.22 trillion by 2033. But here's where it gets really interesting, I think. While the U.S. is the giant, the data shows Canada and Mexico actually have stronger growth rates. Canada's projected CAGR is 3.36%, Mexico's is 3%, so both are growing faster than the U.S. market itself. What's going on there?
That's a great point. That nuance is absolutely key. These mature markets, they're not static at all. Take Canada. That faster growth, part of it seems linked to this rapid rise in what you might call conscious consumption. You see a big surge in demand for plant-based stuff, sustainable sourcing, local ingredients, especially in cities like Toronto, Vancouver. It's not niche anymore. It's pushing mainstream investment.
Yeah.
In Mexico, you've got this combo of an expanding middle class and, crucially, soaring smartphone use. That's just blown up the food delivery app scene. And things like dark kitchens, delivery-only places, they're booming. So yeah, different drivers than maybe the more established sort of casual dining scene that's still a huge part of the U.S. It shows how varied things are even within one continent.
That's a perfect example of local trends driving global numbers. Okay, let's hop across the Atlantic to Europe. Europe's also showing solid growth. It was around $848 billion in 2021, projected to hit $1.14 trillion by 2033. That's a CAGR of about 2.46%, very steady. Countries like the UK, Germany, they're keeping things stable, contributing a lot to that overall size. But like North America, the data shows some areas are accelerating faster. France, for instance, France is projected to grow at nearly 4%. CAGR 3.91%, reaching $127 billion. Italy's moving towards $90 billion. And interestingly, the rest of Europe category, all those other countries together, they actually have the strongest growth pace in the region. They're hitting $288 billion by 2033, growing at 3.65% CAGR. That's quite dynamic.
Yes, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, these different speeds within Europe tell a story. The steady UK and Germany maybe reflects solid economies, established dining habits, but perhaps slower shifts in behavior. But France and Italy accelerating could be changing cultural views on eating out, maybe a stronger tourism rebound post-pandemic, or, like we saw elsewhere, a bigger embrace of digital ordering. And that rest of Europe figure, 3.65%, that's really worth watching. It suggests smaller, maybe more nimble economies are finding really innovative ways to grow their food services, tapping into local trends, niche markets. You really need to look beyond just the big names to see all the opportunities there.
Right. Now let's shift gears and talk about the real engines of growth, the movers and shakers. Our sources are pretty clear. Asia Pacific is the fastest growing hub, not just volume, but the sheer dynamism. It started at $552 billion in 2021. It's expected to hit $864 billion by 2033. That's a powerful 4.06% CAGR, the highest regional rate we're looking at. Right. Obviously, giants like China and Japan are still the biggest players anchoring the region. Huge economies, established food scenes, but the real acceleration story, it seems to be happening elsewhere.
Yeah, the momentum is in places like India. It's expanding at over 5%, CAGR 5.18%, looking to reach $133 billion. And then there's Singapore, wow, leading the region in pace of growth, over a 5.44% CAGR. It's set to nearly double its market to $37 billion.
Right.
We should also mention Southeast Asia heading past $97 billion and the rest of APAC's crossing $88 billion. Just incredible energy there.
It does raise that important question. What exactly is fueling this kind of explosive growth? And what does it mean globally? You're seeing this potent mix, massive population growth, incredibly rapid urbanization, and a middle class that's just burgeoning across the region. In India, think about the sheer scale. Millions of new consumers entering the market, often for the first time, looking for convenience, variety. Singapore, much smaller, sure, but it's a showcase for tech adoption. Affluent, diverse population is a hot spot for food innovation, digital delivery integration. All these things together just create this perfect storm for demand convenience, new experiences, embracing tech. These areas aren't just growing, they're actively reshaping global food services. Definitely slated for the strongest growth. Huge opportunities.
Okay, sticking with strong momentum, let's swing over to South America, another region showing really robust growth. The food service sector there, it's projected to go from $202 billion in 2021 up to $313 billion by 2033. That's a strong CGR too, 3.89%. Brazil naturally remains the dominant market there. Size, culture, it's huge. But the data points to some other real fast movers too. Yes, the analysis highlights Argentina and Colombia, both showing growth rates above 4.6% CGR. That's impressive expansion. It suggests, some really significant shifts and opportunities opening up in those economies beyond just the biggest player.
Exactly. Those numbers from Argentina and Colombia really reinforce that these regions are critical areas for future growth, for innovation. In Argentina, for example, you see local businesses showing amazing resilience, often using digital tools, social media, to connect with younger people looking for diverse, affordable food. Colombia is also benefiting from growing cities, better economic conditions, more money for dining out or delivery. These markets seem really ripe for investment. Huge potential for businesses looking to expand globally, driven by local dynamics and changing consumer tastes.
All right, moving on, let's touch on some of the emerging dynamics elsewhere. First, the Middle East. Our sources suggest more moderate growth here, from about $108 billion in 2021 up to $131 billion by 2033. The CAGR is lower, around 1.43%. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are leading, yeah. But with steadier, perhaps less explosive expansion.
And that moderate pace in the Middle East offers a different angle on expansion. It's maybe less about sheer volume and more about stability, premium experiences, sustained development. You have to remember, this region, especially places like Dubai, Riyadh, it's a global hub for luxury hospitality, culinary tourism. So the growth often involves high-end restaurants, international brands, a real focus on quality, the dining experience. There's also significant government investment boosting tourism and infrastructure. So it's strategic, refined growth rather than just rapid scale-up.
Okay, and finally, let's look at Africa, a vast and diverse continent. The projection here is from $52.8 billion in 2021 up to $79.1 billion by 2033. Interestingly, its CAGR is 2.86%, almost exactly matching the global average. Key players contributing here include Nigeria, South Africa, and also this increasingly strong rest of Africa category showing broad-based growth.
And Africa, keeping pace with the global average, that 2.86%, that's really significant. It points to a continent with, growing economic stability in many areas, very rapid urbanization, and a super young, growing population, a huge consumer base emerging. It's complex, though. You have massive, vital, informal food markets, street food, alongside this rapid growth of modern retail, fast food franchises, digital delivery, especially in hubs like Lagos or Johannesburg. It's this unique blend, local entrepreneurship meeting global trends. And the collective impact of all these emerging markets really adds up, often powered by local innovations, mobile payments, adapting global chains to local tastes. Definitely a market with vast potential, but it needs a very localized approach.
So after looking at all these regions, all these numbers,
Hmm.
what's the big picture? What does it all mean for us, for consumers, for the businesses feeding us? It seems like the opportunities, the challenges too, they're being shaped by some powerful forces. Cities getting bigger, our tastes constantly changing, more people globally having more disposable income, and of course, digital tech everywhere.
Absolutely. And we connect those drivers back to everything. They are fundamentally reshaping the entire experience. Let's break that down quickly. First, urbanization. More people in cities means density. That directly fuels demand for convenience, speed, variety. Think about all the grab-and-go places, food halls popping up, those ghost kitchens, delivery-only spots optimized for speed. That's urbanization in action. Second, changing preferences. Wow, this moves fast. A few years back, it was all gluten-free this, gluten-free that. Now, gut health, plant-based, sustainability, functional foods. People know more, they expect more. Transparency, ethics, health benefits. It forces the industry to be incredibly nimble. Third, rising middle-class incomes globally. As more people earn more, dining out or ordering in changes from a luxury to, well, a regular thing. That fuels demand across the board, from your local pizza place to fancy restaurants. And finally, digital platforms. These are way more than just ordering apps now. They're data powerhouses. Think AI predicting demand to cut food waste, optimizing staffing, things you just couldn't do easily before. They enable personalized menus, virtual brands, streamlining everything. These forces really explain the regional trends we've seen. Makes you think, right?
It really does. What an incredible tour of the global food services landscape. So, just to wrap it up concisely for everyone listening, we're looking at an absolutely essential industry projected to soar past $4.1 trillion by 2033. And we've seen the different roles regions play, Asia Pacific and South America, clearly the strongest growth engines, North America and Europe, providing that crucial stability, but also driving innovation in trends and tech. It's amazing how our meals reflect these huge economic, social, and tech shifts happening all around us.
It really raises a final thought, doesn't it? As consumer tastes get even more complex, more personalized, and digital tech keeps accelerating things in ways we probably can't even predict yet. What new opportunities or maybe challenges are going to pop up? Could we see totally new food production models, mass-scale personalized nutrition, community food networks disrupting the old chains? It really forces us to think differently about how we'll produce, deliver, and eat food in the coming decades. The future here looks incredibly dynamic.
Incredibly dynamic indeed. A perfect way to put it. And that's all the time we have for this deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us, for being curious, and for staying informed. We'll catch you on the next one.